this episode, we talk about suicide, suicidal thoughts, and mental health struggles. If you are ever struggling with any of these things, we urge you to reach out to a professional or somebody that you trust. We will link support down below, and we are always here for you.
How do we stay consistent when our hormones are all over the place?
When you're in the depths of despair, there's like no light, it's very grey, it feels like a dark rain cloud before your period.
The more you understand about you specifically in your body and how you work and how you feel, the more in control that you're going to be, and the more you can work with it to not let it affect your life as much as it might currently do. You don't have to feel ashamed to say that actually today you might need to take a sick day because I can't do it. I want to make sure that women never feel that they're not capable of doing things. They just might need a bit of understanding, a bit of the right space, the right support.
Welcome to the Hormonal Hotline podcast with me, Ellisha Blake, the podcast where we talk about all the things that would usually stay in a group chat, but there are no boundaries here. We're having raw, honest, and open conversations, and I want to thank you so much for being here. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome back to the Hormonal Hotline with me, Ellisha Blake. Today I am here with Frankie Smyth, who is an ultra runner, a women's wellness coach, and a hormone health advocate. That's so hard to say. Hello.
Hello.
So nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. Honestly, guys, if you look at this person's Instagram, she's an absolute superhero. First of all, introduce yourself. Tell us all about yourself. I don't know you that well, and I love this because some people I've had on the podcast I know quite well, and I don't tend to always ask them everything about themselves because I know it already, but I'm like, tell me all.
Okay,
let's go.
Where to start? So yeah, ultra runner. So I've been running for a long time. I've been running probably 15 years now, but in more recent years got into more long distance stuff. So a lot of the stuff, like you say, that I post on Instagram is very running heavy content. I love it, and I lead a run club, and I do all sorts of events around the world, which is amazing. So I get to travel with it as well.
Mrs. Worldwide.
And then I am a women's wellness coach, as you mentioned. So I work with women all around how do we stay consistent and how do we get you from where you are to where you want to be, with the fact that our energy and capacity does not stay the same every week, and we have all sorts of issues that really affect that. So how do we build in small healthy habits just to get from A to B and then build it up from there? So it's all kind of very foundational. You can achieve obviously amazing things. I believe everyone is super capable, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start small, and you have to start where you are. So it's all about building that up, helping them stay accountable, and then reach the goals that they want to do. And then with that, I kind of now bring an element of the hormonal side, like I said, about how do we stay consistent when our hormones are all over the place. So about a year and a bit ago, I was diagnosed with PMDD. So that's been a huge...
Put it there, sister. Put it there.
Woo! So yeah, that's been a huge part of
How long was
my
that?
life.
A year
now.
ago?
Just at the beginning of last January, beginning of last year. So, I mean, in hindsight, a lot longer, but actually
PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, by the way, which basically makes you feel dreadful in the 2 weeks before your period. You don't want to be here. I don't know what your symptoms were, but we'll go into that. But just for people that don't know what PMDD is, it's you don't want to be here before your period. The thoughts are awful. It takes over your whole body, and it's
just like a completely different person, basically.
Anyway, we will come back to PMDD for sure. So moving on. So you're an ultra runner. I've never even really heard of that. That's crazy. How did that begin?
So, like I said, I was running never when I was a child, like in school and stuff. I was never into exercise. It was only when I left, and I was probably 18, 19. I'm 33 now, so however long that is, 15 years or something. And I just started running. I've got some family members who run, so I was a bit inspired, and I just started running. And I remember doing couch to 5k, and it was hard. It was very hard, but I started going to the gym. Then I got into a rhythm with it, really enjoyed it, just sort of did short distances for a few years. Then I did my first 10k and my first half marathon, and I can never do a marathon. That was always that's quite far. Then I signed up for a marathon. I had some issues for the first few years of actually having to pull out marathons before doing it because I had some injuries and things. Once I got on top of all of that and I started doing marathons, I was like, okay, this is my thing. And then I was like, where else can I go? What else can I do?
What was that feeling doing your first marathon? That's huge.
I mean, it was amazing because I'd had so many setbacks leading up to that. To be able to do it and to finally like feel like my body did that, and it felt like it couldn't before, and my mind did that as well. And and then since then it's just kind of gone off the scale really. Like, what else can I do? Just always finding things to do. So
because I saw you've ran 250 kilometers through Tanzania.
Yes.
That's wild. A hot country.
Yeah.
When was this?
This was June 23.
Wow.
And it was my first multi-day ultra marathon.
Crazy.
So it was over 5 days. So it was the most incredible experience. Really was. I really wanted to do a multi-stage, which is basically where you do over more than one day. And I kept seeing this company called Ultra X, that's who I did it with, and they were posting about this new location that they were launching, which was Tanzania. And I was like, really want to do it because I want to do the multi-day. I want to go traveling into and run through like a different place that I hadn't been before. And so I just signed up, and then
You're crazy
10 months later or whenever it was, I did it. And you're in this bubble for like this whole week. Because it's camp life, you're in tents, you dehydrated meals, just getting up and running every day and then coming back and getting to know people, and it kind of brings you really close because you're all doing something really hard. You get talking and you kind of have this bond over the hardship that you're going through.
This abnormal experience.
But that's the thing. I think I have so many people now that I'm connected with who do all of these amazing
it becomes very normal
things that actually sometimes I do have to check myself and like realize that, it's not normal, and I'm a bit desensitized to it sometimes. But
you're around literal like ultra human superheroes.
Yeah.
And you're like, very normal, just running through Tanzania for
just
250
casual.
kilometers. What did that teach you about your body?
Just that I can do hard things and I can push my body through and my mind through, because that's a more of it really is the mental side of it. Of course it's a physical thing and you've got to have the stamina, the endurance, and you do have to train for these kind of things, but mentally it's like the getting up and going again, the running. I mean, the longest day we did was like 40 miles. 67k if you do kilometers, and it was hot, and it was day 3 or 4, I can't remember, out of 5. So you've already done some distance, and just every day thinking like, am I going to be able to do it?
Yeah.
And then doing it and being like, okay, yeah, I've done it. And then getting to the end, and it was like, wow, like I actually can do these things. And I'm so glad that I pushed myself and I'm seeing what I'm capable of, because that's such a huge like part of what I love to see what I am capable of and where my limits are.
And obviously this was 2023, so we're looking 3 years ago. Were you as aware and educated on your hormones as you are today then? Like,
no.
How did you do this back then without this awareness?
So as I said, I only got my PMDD diagnosis last year, and actually
the fact you were doing that with undiagnosed PMDD is mad
and
to
I
me.
can't even, I should look actually where I was in my cycle at that point. But I think at the time, I mean, I didn't notice it so much in that week. You just kind of focus on like everything else, just, it's like you're zoned in on what you're doing. So, and like, this is what I'm doing. I'm telling myself this is what I'm doing. So it doesn't really matter what happens because I'm going to do it. But I suppose it taught me, one, that I am capable of doing more than I think. And also, how can I break it down so that, when you look at it as a whole, it's such a huge task. And even that day, like, a distance of however much it was, but how do you break that down and just focus on the mile or the half an hour or whatever it is that you're in? And it wasn't until probably a year later that kind of all of my PMDD symptoms flared up and came to a bit of a head, and I went through the process of trying to work out what was going on, that I have become more aware of it and obviously looked into it a lot more. And now I can really use it in my training in a way that I couldn't before. Yeah, it's a superpower. Because I wasn't aware. And I think back then I would just pushed through. And yes, you can push through to a certain extent, but especially more so with training. How do you, when you're having a bad day and you don't have any energy, like you can be really hard on yourself, especially if you don't know what's going on. But having that understanding now and having looked into it and being able to navigate it, I'm a lot kinder to myself.
Yes.
And I can train more flexibly around that with that knowledge.
And I always find with this whole like cycle syncing idea is that actually it's not all negative, because I didn't know I had a follicular phase. I didn't know there was a phase in my cycle where I'm better at negotiating, I'm more confident, I'm sexier.
Oh yeah.
Like, I didn't know, yeah girl. Like I didn't know about any of these. I only learned, and then obviously you then learn about the luteal phase where you're like, makes sense, going to be tired, don't want to socialize, don't want to train, don't want to lift as heavy. Like, and actually once you realize about all of these phases, you're like, actually I can really harness to be the best I can be. And you can plan your life around it. And I think that's such a superpower.
Yeah. And that is what I've tried to do, you know, alongside the training, also looking at my day to day, like where do I need to maybe say no, because this week I'm going to be feeling really tired and I need to conserve that energy. But when I'm feeling great and I'm feeling confident and I'm more social, like, okay, great. Like, let's go out. Let's
get out there.
Yeah. So it is a superpower, like you say. And it's difficult, you know, it's something that you do have to get used to. And it's frustrating sometimes when you just want your body to work with you, but you can learn to work with it rather than...
What do you do if you have an event that's coming up in your luteal phase? Like if you know, if I had a marathon booked and I was like due on my period, I'd be like, oh my days.
So there's not much that I can do if that is a particular event that I want to do, because, you know, so you can't change the way that your cycle works. But one thing is the planning around it. So if I'm maybe looking into an event and I don't really mind what it is so much, I would obviously try and pick it at a time where I know I'm going to feel better and I'm not going to be in my luteal phase or maybe period. But you just can't do anything about it, because I suppose it's preparing yourself mentally for it, and getting extra sleep. Obviously every time you lead up to one of these events, you have all of these things anyway, but just being more aware of, okay, I'm going to feel tired, so I'm not going to have a really busy schedule that week, like socially, or, you know, where can I take some time to conserve? How can I just get my mind and body ready for it, because it's going to be probably a lot harder than it would do at another stage.
And also, have you struggled with, obviously in your luteal phase, I don't know about your experience with PMDD, it's sometimes you feel awful about yourself, you feel awful about the way you look, you feel just a bit of a waste of a human sometimes. How do you overcome that whilst you're trying to do something incredible? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd find that really difficult to be like, right now I've got to get out there and wear tight lycra and do something that's really quite, you know, challenging.
And sometimes, you know, when you see photos, especially the race photos, they really do dirty, especially on a down step. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, like when you're running, when you're putting your foot forward and you're not sort of flying, like the skin rippling, everything, it just doesn't look...
The cheeks are going like...
it's just not, it's not a vibe. And that can be hard because you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, you have all these negative thoughts about yourself. But I think for me, it's just been about reframing, and that's a lot of the stuff that I've learned as well through coaching, which I'm sure we'll go into as well. But you know, just how to reframe it, like rather than looking at it and seeing what I look like, it's like, what did my body just do? Like, and trying to reinforce all of the evidence leading up to that. Like, I've done the run through Tanzania, I've done the National Parks Challenge, which
15 parks in 15 days.
In my luteal phase, can I just say, 2 weeks.
No way. So, the whole 2 weeks. Oh my God.
I didn't time that very well.
That's crazy.
But
did you do it on your own?
I did do it on my own. I had a support, well, I say a support crew, but I had one friend doing it with me.
Right.
She drove, she did all like the logistics.
Where did you sleep? In a tent?
No, we stayed in like hotels and places along the way. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were in your luteal phase?
Yeah.
What extra things did you do in that time? Like
when I'd planned it, I think I'd planned it at the beginning of the year, just around when I was being diagnosed. So actually it wasn't on my radar when I was planning it. And then it wasn't until like nearer the time I looked and I was like, great, okay, cool.
Silly girl.
It's going to add that an extra layer, but you know, I'm here for it. I want it to test me in every way possible, so bring it on.
You really do have the mind of an athlete. Like,
it has. I definitely have built resilience over doing these hard things, just because having done them and then trying to step it up, I know that I'm capable of doing something, especially if I do everything that I can within my control around it and leading up to it. But something that the National Parks Challenge did teach me. So this was a 50k in each national park. So there's 15 of them, and it was 15 consecutive days. And there's only so much you can prepare for that, right? Like there's always going to be things that you don't think of, or things that come up. And there was a lot of things where I really had to adapt and overcome and change things, and things that I've learned like since, and coming back and reflecting. So to be honest, the hardship of what I was doing with the running itself, the exhaustion, the moving around, the logistics, everything, like the luteal phase, I guess, was just like, look, it's going to be hard anyway. So
one
it's
extra
just,
hard thing.
What's another thing?
Wow.
And yeah, to be honest, I actually don't know how I did it, because when I struggle in my luteal phase, like, as you know, you can really struggle. And so
what would you say your symptoms are, really?
So one of the main things for me is real like fatigue. Like I really struggle with that, which is difficult when I'm trying to do all of these
crazy things,
endurance runs. And I'm a busy person as well. I like to do, things, and I'm here, there and everywhere. And that's been a big part of like, okay, I can't do it all. Like some days I'm just going to have to do what I know is best for me. So the fatigue, anxiety was something that I hadn't ever really experienced before, which was a real struggle.
Was there a trigger for your PMDD, do you think?
Yes, I think so. It was coming up a couple of years ago. I'd been in my corporate job that I'm doing at the minute for maybe 8 months or so, and it was a really busy period, and I was like I was overworked, I was overstretched, like trying to do everything and trying to like probably not asking for help, which is another thing that I've learned since then. Ask for help, and before you need it, like
communicate.
100%. But yeah, it was basically stress, I think, and I had all of these symptoms. So it was the fatigue, the anxiety, real like emotional lows.
Would you get this in the 2 weeks before your period? Would you get it in the 5 days? When was it?
Anywhere between like 5 days and 2 weeks. And that still varies now for me. Sometimes like
half the month.
Yeah. Sometimes the whole 2 weeks is just a bit of like
hell.
Yeah. And then sometimes I manage it until I get to, like a week before or something. So real lows, like emotional lows that I hadn't been to before, which was really scary. Panic attacks. I mean, there's lots of other things, but they were the sort of the main ones for me. And so I knew something wasn't right, and I didn't know. I had heard of PMDD, but I hadn't really looked into it, and I wasn't thinking it was anything to do with my hormones, to be honest. I had no idea, but I knew something.
Was it cyclical? Did you realise that it was cyclical?
Not at first, no.
And it really takes you a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
It took me years, and you gaslight yourself. I
was really lucky with the speed from when I started having the symptoms to getting the diagnosis. I was really lucky. I mean, like I say, in hindsight, there were probably years of struggles, and maybe where with the fatigue I was going to the doctors and there was never really anything, and I probably didn't pair it with other symptoms, and you're just not as aware back then. But yeah, I knew something wasn't right, and I went to see a therapist, and I was like, just like, I'm in a really bad place and something's going on and I need to get to the bottom of it. I thought maybe it was something that I just needed to work through in therapy. So I had a few sessions with her, and it was her initially who said, look, I think you should track your cycle. Have you ever heard of premenstrual dysphoric disorder?
Slay queen for knowing what it is.
I know. I was like, I have heard of that. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I started tracking, and then I was looking into the symptoms more. And then, it was just like, everything's like ding, 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 ding. And I was like, okay.
Like, that's me. Yeah.
And she did say to me, she said, look, I think you should go and see a GP and get blood tests and other things done, because you want to rule it out that it is anything going on.
Yeah.
Anything else. And I have medical insurance through work. So I went to see, which was great. I went to see a private GP, and really lovely guy, which also, can I just say, because having a man talking to you about these things, sometimes you're even
triggering.
More like, well, it's even more like because they don't understand. They're never going to 100% understand.
Fully resonate with what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. But this guy was so understanding. I felt really listened to. We did tests. He called me and he was like, your iron's a bit low, which has always been up and down. But he said, there's not anything else. And I think your symptoms could be something called PMDD. And I was like, so you've said that, the therapist has said that, I've looked into all of this stuff.
Very refreshing for the GP to suggest it, because often it's us coming in being like, I've got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really was. So I was really lucky, because I do know that, it could take years to get diagnosed.
Yeah.
And then I just felt like I had more power back, because one of the things that I really struggled with when I was having these symptoms and I was going to therapy and I was in a low mental health state was the loss of control. I felt really out of control, and like I was never going to feel myself
Normal
again.
Yeah.
And like I just couldn't get to come to terms with that, because I've always been very organized and very on top of things, and I felt like I was slipping at work. My training wasn't great, but then of course when you're tracking and then you're suddenly like, oh, there are some good days in there. So that was when I felt like, okay, I have the power back now, because I know what it is, and it's not a quick fix and it's not really anything you can like cure as such, but I have tools to work with, and I have research that I can do, and I can look at all of these holistic things, and I can train my mind as well in the way that I do with my running. So that felt good. And I did start taking some medication as well.
Yeah. What have you done to improve your symptoms and be able to like?
So straight away, because the mood thing for me, the low mood was like a real struggle. The GP had said, do you want to go on fluoxetine, or do you want to wait and see? Do you want to take some iron tablets, see if that improves like with your energy? And I was like, no, I need to, like, something needs to change. I cannot go on like this. Yeah. And I've never been against medication, but it's just not ever something that I've had or that I've needed. And so I know that some people are really put off by that, because they're like, they don't want to put things in their body and they want to learn how to work with it. But I would say that the fluoxetine, it's a serotonin booster, has definitely helped.
Good.
However, it's not
quick fix
everything.
No.
And there are some months, depending on how stressed I am, what else I've got going on, that it's still, the mood still is a little bit up and down, but it's definitely helped stabilize it a lot more. And then I've just looked into it more, like what things can I be eating? How can I change my diet to make sure that I'm getting all of the nutrients? Because similarly to what I do with obviously looking after myself for training, and also with what I teach clients about with coaching, is that you can't do all of these amazing things or feel your best if your basics aren't looked after.
So true.
So what's your sleep like? So talking then back to me, it was like, am I sleeping enough? Am I putting my phone down enough time before I go to bed, which I'm really guilty of.
Me doom scrolling till 3 a.m. this morning. In my luteal phase.
Like hard to relate, but also, am I drinking enough? Yes, I'm exercising, but am I eating enough and eating the right things to be able to do that? What does my social life look like? Am I protecting my boundaries? How am I asking for help, like at work? And, on a side note, I did speak to work about my diagnosis and that I needed some help with some things. And
how was that?
It was really, to be fair, I felt supported, but no one knew what it was.
Of course.
No one had any idea. And I was like, this is it. This is exactly why. And then I think since then, that's why I've become like so passionate about raising awareness for PMDD, but also just the women's health, our health in general, the lack of education around it, the lack of understanding, and also the dismissal that we get. Often I had a really positive experience, as I said, but it's not like that for everyone. And then I started sharing it more on social media. I think after I was diagnosed, it was PMDD Awareness Month, and I was like, I'm going to be really vulnerable and I'm going to put it out there because I want to share and talk about it. And I also know that people will like find that it might help them. And since posting and then talking about it quite often, I do get a lot of people like, messages. Can you talk to me a little bit about like your symptoms and how did you get diagnosed? Because I think actually that I might have it, and I'm really struggling with it, and like the doctors aren't listening. And
I also think it's so inspiring to have you as a like figure with PMDD though, because I think so many people, and I'm sure we've both been there, when you're in the depths of despair, there's like no light. It's very grey. It feels like a dark rain cloud before your period. And actually being able to see someone that can still achieve and do amazing things physically with your body, and you're still able to achieve these amazing things and have PMDD, and like you can have both, and you can do both. And I think for some people that are in their darkest points right now, you're like a beacon of light, because it's like, wow, actually, no, I could run a marathon and have PMDD. I could learn to, you know, harness my cycle and learn what cycle syncing is. And, you know, it's possible. And I think we're not always shown that when we're first diagnosed with PMDD. It just feels like it's the end. You're going to feel like you don't want to be here every month for the rest of your life, and that's it. But it's so amazing to have someone like you that shows that you can get through the other side, and you can still have crap months, but you can achieve amazing things at the same time.
And I am really open about that, because I think a lot of the stuff that I post, and I'm really like, I've got high energy and I just love what I do. So that portrays on the content, but I am conscious of that. And also that, you know, when I am feeling low, I need to share that as well. Definitely. And to show that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And I think that also really resonates. And so I try and do that as well, to have that balance.
It's really important. And I think, like you said, I remember the first video I ever posted, which was like about PMDD. I just thought, oh, if 2 people see it and it helps 2 people, do you know what I mean? That's all that matters. But when you start posting and you get these messages and they're like, you've changed my life, I didn't know what it was, now I'm diagnosed, if it wasn't for you, it's like really quite a lovely feeling.
It really is.
And
on the flip side with men as well, like to just showing that, you know, I'm doing all of these things, but and so are you, but you don't have the extra struggles that I do. And even down to like my dad, you know, he's an older guy who doesn't know anything about women's health, really. And so I've explained PMDD to him, and whenever I'm like having a rough day or something, he's always like, oh, is it your PMDD?
Oh, You're like, not today, Dad, that'll be next week.
And then he called me and he was like, oh, I've just heard a snippet on the radio of PMDD, I'll send the link to you so you can, I was like,
my mum's the same. She's like, oh, I heard that, Vicky Patterson talking about it, fantastic.
So it's really nice to just, you know, raise awareness for other women, for maybe who's going through it, but also for maybe if they're not, they all have cycles that they're going to struggle with. And then
and the amount of people that I know who are like, I don't have PMDD, but my best friend does, so I've sent her your page, and I'm like, yes. Or I've been at like an event before, and I've been like, I've got PMDD, talking to like a guy, and he's like, so it's my girlfriend, and he's like, she's never met anyone with it before. And then like, I love it when you meet a guy,
so nice,
and they like know everything about it, and they've learned to support their partner, and you're like, this is great. But even a little clip about PMDD on the internet, it can change someone's life, because it's so isolating living in that place every single month and not knowing that anyone else is experiencing that. Like, that's so tough.
And I think that is something also that I really want to portray, because like you say, when you're in that low point and that loss of control that I had, and the things that I'd achieved before, I was like, how can I do this? I'm never going to be able to do this again. Like, how can I, when I can't even get out the door, or when I run, it's really hard and everything feels really like, because I'm so tired. But like, I was really determined that actually, no, this is not going to be something that stops me from fulfilling my potential. This is going to be something that I'm going to learn to work with, and I'm going to see in a positive light, because I'm going to use it to learn more about my body, learn more about how I can work with it, and to then still be able to do these things and still be able to do what I love.
This podcast literally wouldn't be possible without Evelyn. Beyond producing it, they have personally helped me on my PMDD journey. I am literally in my luteal phase right now, and I'm telling you, it makes me emotional. 3 years ago, there's no way I could have even sat in this chair, done this podcast, or done anything in my luteal phase. I used to feel like I didn't want to be here before my period, like there was a big cloud looming over me, and life just felt so heavy in the 2 weeks before my period. But since I have started Evelyn's supplement routine over a year ago, genuinely my whole life has changed. I feel like I can live again before my period, turn up and do things like this, socialise. Everything around me has improved, and I feel like I can really be myself again in my luteal phase. Evelyn makes science-backed, hormone-free supplements designed by experts for people like me. If you're struggling with your period, I honestly would urge you to give them a try. If you'd like to try them today, go to evelynhealth.com or use the link in our show notes, and you can use Hotline 20 for 20% off your first order. Can we talk more about sort of cycle syncing and sort of the practical tools that you use to start training with your cycle and not against it, because I don't think that's spoken about enough at all. And I think often, I know there's a lot of personal trainers out there who now are looking more into the cycle, your menstrual cycle, which I think is amazing. But like, I think it's time now that we speak about how we as people that have periods do train differently and need to train differently to people that don't have periods, because there's so many different things going on. We're made completely differently. God,
we are, but everything is designed around men.
It is.
All the testing, everything. So it's now becoming even more like needed that we need to know about this, and more things need to be done so that they can work out how women work so differently to men, and then how we can adapt that to our lives.
No, 100%. Yeah, so let's talk about sort of what are your practical tools to start training around your cycle and like cycle syncing, because some people have literally never heard of it, and it can change everything.
So the first thing is the awareness and the understanding. So get a tracking app, or
what's your favourite?
I use Stardust.
I use Stardust. We love Stardust. It's also female led, and it's also apparently they don't steal your data like the other ones.
I love that it's around kind of like the moon, so it's a little bit woo woo, which I love.
Very witchy. We love Stardust. Like, she's just the best.
Yeah, it has like fun facts as well about women and menstrual cycles, and
so good. And also you can add your partner on there, and you can give them a nudge if they haven't seen it, so you can see whether they've seen what the like prediction is for the day,
so they know how you might be.
It might so today it says I'm day 10 days until my period, and then it says day 17 of 26, it says bloating could be starting, find a safe space. Find a safe place to fart and let rip. It will help. I was a bit gassy this morning. I just thought it might be because I went out last night. Or I didn't go out last night. Also, drink something warm, lemon water, chamomile tea, first thing in the morning to get those bowels moving. And then it like shows you all of these other things, like what other people can be feeling. You can
add symptoms in so that you can look back and you can track it. I love it when
it says I might be feeling unmotivated today. Maybe.
Yeah, it does correlate. But yeah, I love it when I'm feeling good. You know, when we're talking about feeling like sexy and it pops up and it's like, you are a classified radioactive sexy substance today. And I'm like, yes, I am.
I mean, the other day I was feeling very, don't listen, mum. And my thing popped up and it said, today your hormones are living the La Vida Loca. And I was like, that's also weird, because I was listening to Living La Vida Loca in the gym, and I was like, wow. Yeah. But yeah, I love it. And then suddenly you're like, this is why I feel so good. Yeah. This is why I feel so confident.
Yeah. So tracking we digress. Cycle, looking at finding, like, there's other apps out there, but Stardust I do highly recommend. It's fun. And when your friends are on it as well, it's so fun, because you can just like, you see each other's like, look what it is today, and it's just
if you're booking a holiday with your friends, you can see who's going to be on the holiday.
So first of all, just start tracking, like, and even if you do it old school and you want to like write it down in a journal, just so so you do that for a few months so that you know how you're feeling, because you can't do anything unless you have awareness of how you're feeling, and also look into the different phases of the cycle, because I talk about this like people know, but actually it's quite astounding how many people don't know that you have these 4 phases,
and you can harness them.
And so learning to train around it, I would say, when you know more about each cycle. So for example, in your follicular phase, when you are feeling, typically, obviously everyone varies.
So that's the first part after your period.
Yes. So after your period, you go into sort of your higher energy phase, and that's just after ovulation. So that's when you're feeling a little bit fruity, you're feeling better, you're feeling strong. Exactly. You're probably more confident. So
I'm not bloated anymore.
Exactly. You have all of these, like, and it's, just make the most of it, because it's not going to last. But also at the same time, what I've learned is don't go ham, like don't go too hard, because you're like, I've got to make the most of this period, because you don't want to.
It's like when the sun comes out in England, that's your follicular phase. It's like, oh my God, I've got to go to the pub, and I've got to go to the park, and I've got to get picky bits, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that.
That's a great way to explain it, yeah.
And then next day it rains, and you're like,
Yeah, basically. The rain cloud slowly makes its way over and then just absolutely shits on your head.
Yeah.
But yeah, so use that, like, when that might be something you want to try something new, or you want to lift a little bit heavier, or you want to do that harder session. And then when you get into your luteal phase, that is when, you know, your legs are going to feel a bit heavier. Everything's going to feel a bit harder. You might feel more fatigued. You might have all the bloating, which makes running uncomfortable in training. So what I would say about that phase of your cycle is just to listen to your body. And if you need to switch like one of your sessions around,
and
then
do yoga or something.
Do something. You know, I've so many times I've gone out for a run and I've been in my luteal phase and it just isn't happening. I'm like, do you know what?
It's going to become a hot girl walk.
Yeah, I'm going to walk. But I would say like have your like a minimum, like your sort of like baseline. So if I can't do my planned session today, what can I still do that is going to make it a success? Because then you still feel good about yourself. Because I think the problem is, and what I've learned is that you can spiral so easily.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in that phase and your mind's telling you all of these
like self-deprecation,
negative things. Yeah. And so you go out and you try a run and you've got a particular session on your plan and it's been feeling great, and you go out and then suddenly you can't do what you're supposed to do and what you have been doing. You then can spiral about, well, I'm a failure, I can't do anything, I'm not going to be able to do this, like, there's no point even training for this marathon or 5k or whatever it is you're doing. But if you then can like reframe that, it's like, okay, well, I couldn't do this session and I had intervals and speed in there, but I could slow it down and I could just get some movement in, or I could do a walk, or actually I'm going to really listen to my body and I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a bit of stretching.
Yeah, because sometimes rest is success. Like,
and it's a huge part of training when you're running and you're training for especially endurance events. Like, you have to rest, you have to let your body recover, and it is the same for your mind as well. So try and have something that's like your baseline. Like, that if you aren't going to be able to do what you have on your plan, what can you still do to feel good about yourself?
Yeah.
And sometimes that is just absolutely like sacking it off, going and having a hot bath, or like going to sleep and just, rotting a little bit, but try not to wallow in it too much, because it's that spiral, isn't it?
And then the next day and the next day and the next day. But no, I like that, because I think we're really hard on ourselves, and I've got to a point, I think you can sometimes be too rigid and be like, it's my follicular phase, so I can't lift heavy weights. And I've actually got to the point where I'm like, no, I'm just going to show up each day and see how I feel. And there's a thing like, it's bad to lift weights in your luteal phase. And I'm like, no, if I feel strong enough and okay to do that, I will go and lift weights.
I think it is, there are things like, it's good to know that in your luteal phase, you are more prone to injuries and things like that.
Just so interesting when you look at like the women's football team and ACL
I had no idea about any of that.
Yeah.
And, recovery might be longer. So you need more time in between sessions. But it's not a one size fits all. And that's something also that's really important. So when you start to track your cycle and you start to work with it, talk to your friends about it. And that's when also it highlights when things aren't normal. So when you're talking to your friends and they're like, yeah, we have like period pains, or we have like a bit of PMS and a bit of low mood, but not to the extent where, you're doubled over, or that you can't get out of bed, or you're thinking of not wanting to be here anymore. And that's when you can start to kind of highlight things that maybe aren't as normal, and to look into it a bit more. But basically the overarching message is that as the more you understand about you specifically in your body and how you work and how you feel and what you need each phase of your cycle, like the more in control that you're going to be, and the more you can work with it to not let it affect your life as much as it might currently do. I
so agree. And I think this bleeds into like relationships too, right? I feel like I became a better partner when I had a partner. The more I educated myself on my PMDD, and the more I educated myself on kind of how could I communicate to them when I knew I was going to start feeling a bit crap, and I knew I was going to maybe be a little bit short or a bit sassy. Like, I think the more you educate yourself, the more you can educate others, and the more they can show up for you as well. Because I think you have to remember with PMDD, it's not just your problem, it's everyone around you. It's like, because you shouldn't just have to carry that burden and that load on your own. Like your dad, for instance, being like, oh, is it your PMD? Like, that's so nice, because he's just checking in, and like he's thinking about you. And I think that's so important, that I think we walk this like lonely path, and like, no, you're here, I'm here, we've both got PMDD, and like you can find people that have it too, and we are all here for each other.
And that's why I was quite open about it at work, because I still do struggle with it. Like, sometimes one thing I didn't mention earlier is the brain fog is the one of the symptoms that I have, and the lack of concentration. And sometimes I'm like, I can't focus today, and I can't, like, everything just feels a little bit fuzzy. And like, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself because I'm like, why can't I just get stuff done, you know? But actually, if you're talking about it and you're explaining to the people that it does affect, like your partner or your family or people that you work with, then there's that understanding, and you're not trying to use it as an excuse for everything. But I think something I've come to terms with is that maybe I downplayed it a bit, and I was like, oh yeah, like, but it's a real thing. Can really affect you, and you don't have to feel ashamed to say that actually today I'm
not
really struggling, and you might need to take a sick day because I can't, you know, I can't do it.
And there's nothing worse when your brain just like the words just aren't coming into your head, like, and you're talking and you're like, something's coming out of my mouth, but like nothing's coming, and everything just slows down.
And you do,
like,
again, back to that like rest and recovery, like sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is just have one of those days where you're like, I can't work today. Like in the same way that if you had a stomach bug and you were being sick, you wouldn't think twice about being like, oh yeah, I'm sick.
And also PMDD isn't a visible illness.
No.
So like when you're running these crazy marathons, like nobody knows what could be going through your head or how your body's feeling. Like it's really quite hard sometimes to explain to other people. Like I know I don't look unwell, but like I physically, emotionally, mentally, I feel completely burnt out. And it's okay to communicate that because people don't quite understand unless you do.
Yeah. And that's something as well you can learn. Like, how do you communicate that? Is it just like, I'm in a difficult phase of my cycle right now? So
I saw someone, I can't remember who said this, and I'd love to credit them for it. They changed their WhatsApp status.
Okay.
When they're in their luteal phase. I don't know if it was Lily who was here. I don't know. Somebody changes their WhatsApp status. Yeah, I can't think who it is. And that's crazy, but like, it's so good. Like, it's so good. Like, so everyone that's WhatsApping them is going to be like, oh yeah, well, she won't reply for a few days. Yeah. Yeah, because I've had that. They're like, why haven't you replied? I'm like, I'm literally in my luteal phase. I can't.
Yeah,
like,
I don't have the capacity. I'm just doing the bare minimum. I should
do
like
an automated message being like, hi, I'll speak to you in 2 to 5 working days.
I wish I could do that on my out of office at work, but
honestly, so good. Are you ready for some dilemmas?
Yes.
Let's get juicy. Okay, so the first one. Hey, I honestly can't imagine achieving what Frankie has. Me neither, honestly. I look at her and think, if she can do all of that whilst dealing with PMDD, maybe I could one day too. You're inspiring.
That's so lovely.
It's true. It's genuinely so inspiring. What is your number one tip for getting where you are?
Start where you are. Don't compare yourself to other people or worry about like how far you've got to go. You just have to start where you are. So that's going to look different for everyone. But what is just one action you can take to get yourself to closer to where you want to be? You don't have to do these massive challenges. You know, I mentioned at the start that I started just small and I was doing Catch to 5K and I really struggled. And at that point, I would have never imagined what I was doing, but that's taken some time to get there. So I think it's also realizing and just recognizing that you are where you are, and you can have aspirations to get to where you want to be, but you have to start small.
I love that because I think it's so easy to get caught up with comparison, especially when you're struggling with certain things. We all have different struggles, whether that's PMDD or loads of other things. But I think it's so nice to think, no, I can like start. I can start. Yeah, you can always start.
Like, the only person that can change anything in your life or from getting from where you are to where you want to be is yourself. So you have to just make that decision, and it's going to feel 10 times harder than, you know, maybe someone else that's further along in the journey, but they also started where you were. So you do have to just realize that and just start small, start where you are with what you have, and use people around you as well. Like, you know, it's great to use people for sources of inspiration and motivation, but what other resources can you use? Who can you talk to that might have been there not too long ago and can help you? And how can you stay accountable as well? Is there someone that you can use, whether it is a coach or whether it's just a friend?
Body double.
Yeah, you know.
I love that. And also you can start again and again and again.
Absolutely.
It's like fall in love again and again. Like you can start again and again and again. There's no one's telling you can't. If you stop, you can start again. Get back on the horse.
Absolutely. That's it. I mean, consistency, I would say, isn't about like never falling off. It's just about picking up and doing what you can. So it doesn't have to look like consistency is not the same every day, but what can you give that day? Some days you're going to have 100%, so you can give that, but your best looks different every day, and that's okay.
Start where you are.
Start where you are, people.
I love that. I love that. Dilemma number 2. Hey, I absolutely love the pod. I'm so interested to know how Frankie manages to train, stay in shape, and do everything in her luteal phase. My luteal phase cravings have been crazy, and I would really love to know how she stays on track and doesn't indulge in all the naughty foods that you're not supposed to.
I don't always.
So naughty foods aren't a thing. It's all about the balance.
Yeah, just keeping it real. Like, I have a massive sweet tooth, and I do sometimes have a big sweet chocolate binge, you know. It's one of those things. But preparation, like prep, is key. When you are feeling in your best phase, when you're feeling great, what can you do then to set yourself up for your luteal phase? So if you know, for example, like I know that my eating, like, and I can't be bothered to cook stuff, so I end up reaching for more like not great stuff that's not going to keep me filled or like sustain my energy. How can I prep in the times that I am feeling good? So how can I maybe, like, if you use a meal prep service, I used to do that, but also where can you meal prep? Like if I'm feeling good and I can batch cook like 4 meals and I can put it in the freezer for those days where I'm not feeling good and I can just take it out, then you know you've got something good for when you're not feeling good.
Yeah.
But it's going to make you feel better. So that's probably the main thing, is the preparation, just using the good phase to your advantage.
To get ahead.
I
love like batch cooking and then freezing. And then I'm like, oh, that bolognese I cooked 3 weeks ago is going to save me tonight.
Yeah. Or like, you know, can you slow cooker? Can you do something and just chuck stuff in? Like just make it as easy as possible for yourself. But this is where it's good to know, once you've been tracking and you know how you feel, that you then can work out what you need to do to in the good phase to get you to feel better and to make things easier for you. Yeah. Because it's going to be hard. So you want to just make everything else as easy as possible, basically. Yeah, it's kind of preventative action. Yeah. Also, things like Evelyn's PMS bars, fantastic. That's my like. Tried. You haven't tried? No. Oh my god, I haven't got any in here right now. I'll have to give you one after. But there are bars that have been made with all the ingredients you need before your period. So like the magnesium, the L-tryptophan, saffron, all the things that help your like PMDD symptoms. But they basically taste really good. Okay. So we have like chocolate, salted peanut, and we also have lemon and poppy seed. Nice. Stunning. With a cup of tea. You can only have one a day because the ingredients is very concentrated, but it's like they're very low cal. Not that I track calories or anything, but it's just like, you can just have it. Yeah, but also I always think if you're in your luteal phase, like I'm in my luteal phase, I wanted a McDonald's last night. I'm gonna have it. I had a Domino's. Yeah, it's all about the balance. There's no such thing as naughty foods. So I mean, as much as you can prepare, but also don't be so like strict on yourself. You know, of course you need to eat stuff, especially if you are training. You need to make sure that you're eating well, but you know, don't like not give yourself any naughty stuff. Don't restrict. You don't need to do that. Exactly, yeah. Are you ready for some quick fire questions? Okay. Are you ready? Are you feeling fiery? Not really today, to be honest, but I can bring it. Bring the fire. Number 1. What's one thing your cycle has taught you about yourself that a coach never could? I think just that I'm capable of achieving anything that I put my mind to, but that unfortunately, as a woman, there are added things like your hormones that are going to get in the way, but you have the control to work with that because your capacity is going to look different every day. Yeah. So only you can work to see how your body works and what you need each day, and then you can decide that level, like where are your boundaries, high and low, you know, like how do you show up for yourself each day even if you're not feeling 100%. And no one can tell you. No one can tell you that. And because everyone is so different, you can take pieces of advice, but you can't ever, no one is going to have exactly the same experience as you. No. So I think it's really important just to learn to know your own body, to accept that there are going to be hard days, but also to appreciate that that's not going to last forever. No, I so agree. No one will ever know what's going on inside of your body, and also no one can ever tell you how you're feeling because only you know how you feel, and especially physically. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just show up with what you've got and show up as you are. Show up as you are. Give it your best shot. Okay. Number 2, you mentioned having a good experience with your diagnosis and then being supported at work. If someone is listening and they are an employer, what could be changed to best support employees out there that perhaps have something like PMDD or endo or anything like that? So again, awareness and education. So I think just being aware of what things your employees might be struggling with, to anticipate rather than wait for someone to come to you. And like I did, it was, I had a good experience, but no one knew what it was. So whether they went and looked at it, in more detail, I don't know. I would hope so. But I think, so just to preempt what things might come up, and then just to have things in place so that when someone does come to you, you're not sort of like, oh, okay, we haven't had this situation before. But let's look into it. It's like someone comes to you, because when you're coming, especially when you're in a bit of a depressive phase, especially, just referring to PMDD, and you come to someone for help, that can be quite a big thing to do. Huge. And when then you have someone who doesn't really understand, doesn't really have a solution for you, that can just knock you even further. So if someone can preempt that and say like, okay, I totally hear you, we've got something in place, this is what I suggest, sometimes just need that extra bit of support. So I think if you can be prepared, so looking into these things, talk to maybe other employers or look into what other employers have in place, then you can implement that before it's too late, if you know what I mean. Yeah, no, I love that. And I think it's really important, especially if you say have if you have an office full of people that have periods, it's very likely that someone's going to have PCOS, somebody's probably got heavy periods, somebody's got PMDD, somebody's got endo, like it's very likely. And sometimes I think as an employer, actually, I know there's a lot to do, but it's actually worth looking into all of these conditions that are so common within people with periods, and sort of just making sure that, is everyone okay? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, being able to just be there for them before they even have to come to you. Yeah, and maybe, like I say, opening that conversation. Maybe having those conversations or providing a space where people can talk about that. Yeah, I think having these conversations are so important. And I think just having a safe space, and the more we talk about it, the more normal it becomes. And also, like you said earlier, sometimes you can have these chats with your girlfriends and be like, wait, that's not normal. And it's actually really good. And that's what I love about the younger generation, is that we're all so much more open now, because it's a safer space for us. And it's nice because a lot of these things wouldn't have been spoken about years ago. So we don't have to suffer in silence. And, we've got AI now, right? So employers can easily find loads of stuff. They've got no excuse. No excuse. And then maybe, you speak to female employees or, those who have periods, just to get a real like life experience from someone, and then you can kind of just start to work out, like, okay, what might these people be going through, how can I support them, and just preempting it. I think that's the most important thing, just to make sure that you're ready for the support that someone might need. I so agree, absolutely. So you are now a qualified coach. What is the actual title of you being a coach? So resilience and wellness coach is the qualification title, but it is quite broad, and I think a lot of people do, like, they're not sure, what's a wellness coach? Is it the same as a life coach? Is it woo-woo? Is it but basically it's kind of just looking at a holistic approach, and it's looking at how, because the mind and the body are so integrated, which is fascinating. And I think in the past, particularly with some medical specialists, you would go and see that they treat things separately. So, you might have something physical and something mental going on, but the two aren't connected, and therefore it can make it really difficult to work forward with a solution. So that kind of encompassing the whole body as like holistically. But I particularly work with women around, consistency, everything that we've already spoken about, basically, like how you get from A to B, especially around all of our energy and capacity fluctuations. And I think I'm so passionate now about, first of all, like, before the PMDD diagnosis, I was really passionate about helping women just to show that they are capable, because I think quite often people say to me, like, you've done all of these things, and I could never do that. And I'm like, yes, you can. Like, you have to have that self-belief, and you have to build that up. And now you're a coach that is helping people do that. Yeah, and I think it's just so, I'm just so passionate about it now, even more so knowing the struggles that I have with my own hormones, but still being able to achieve the things that I want. I want to make sure that women never feel that they're not capable of doing things. They just might need a bit of understanding, a bit of the right space, the right support, someone to listen to them, someone just to be their cheerleader and say, like, you absolutely can. You're going to have to start small, and you're going to have to really want it, and you're going to have to put in work, because that kind of cliche of nothing doesn't come overnight. Worth having is easy, that sort of thing. But I just believe that we all have so much
potential.
And that's one of my biggest fears, is just not ever fulfilling that. And I don't want that for other people as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at the minute, with really just trying to get women to believe in themselves and teach them how they can build that self-trust, which then will turn into resilience, which then turns into them doing these amazing things. So.
That's insane. You are incredible, honestly. And I think as a PMDD girly myself, who often doesn't always achieve that much in her luteal phase sometimes, and obviously we don't compare, but I just think looking at you, you are, as I said earlier, a beacon of light for those in the PMDD community. You can run an ultra marathon. You can run 15, you can do 15 national parks in 15 days in your luteal phase. You can do it. And if you are in the depths of your despair, the depths of despair in your luteal phase at the moment, this could one day be possible. Yeah. And I think this is so special, because we need more light and more positivity in the PMDD community, because it's not easy. No, it's not easy.
It's not.
No.
But those hard moments don't last forever.
No, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And there is,
yeah. And the same way the good moments don't. So make the most of those. Know that it will pass when it gets hard, and just show up as you are. Start where you are.
Yay! I'm going to come to you. And that's a wrap on another Hormonal Hotline episode. Please be sure to subscribe, and please click the bell to get notifications. We cannot wait to have you back, and thank you so much for coming.